Hey shaking everybody, Shane here. I hope you're all doing well. Today it is the official start of winter. We're in the winter solstice. It is the shortest day of the year, and that also means that we are officially well into the way to the holiday season. So I figured, what better time for us to talk about depression? Yes. Now, before I get too deep into this, I just want to say I am not a doctor, I am not a therapist, I am not a psychologist, I have no medical standing to diagnose or to treat anyone with any sort of mental disorder. I am, however, somebody who has dealt with depression and anxiety for their entire existence, and I thought it would be cool to have just a little discussion and talk about things that I have done to kind of help pull me out of depression or keep me from drowning in it. So, let's have a chat. So, first things first, why depression and why now? Well, why not? This is the time of year where most people do start experiencing some depression. The holiday season can be very, very triggering for some people with depression. Also, just the time of year it is dark early, you don't go outside as much, and just in general, 2020 has been not the greatest of years. So, everything with the pandemic and the virus just kind of compounding all of that stuff right around the holiday season, I figure now would be a good time to kind of talk about it and address it. And as to how it relates to health and fitness, being that that's my area of expertise, if you will, I think health and fitness and depression could go hand in hand. I think that a fitness regimen could be very, very helpful in managing depression. Now, I don't know about most everyone else, but I know for me, when I'm, kind of in my depressed mode, you do start thinking, like, nobody else understands this, and I think that's a pretty common feeling. But in this country alone, 18 million people say that they suffer from depression. Those are just the ones that say and admit it. It's got to be more than that. Worldwide, 300 million people admit to having episodes of depression. So, whether or not you feel like you're alone, truly not. The one big thing I do want to say about depression is, even if it seems silly to be depressed, or if somebody outside looks in and says, like, what do you have to be depressed about? Understand that depression is neither rational nor logical. I have been in some deep, deep depressions where people are like, oh, but you have a loving wife and your cats and you have a job you love and your health and whatever other things people say that you're supposed to go, yes, never mind, I will be happy now. I'm fully aware that I have a wife who loves me, I have cats that I love, I have a profession that I thoroughly enjoy, but those are not things that when you are in that mindset that you're just like, yes, I'll be good now. The other thing is depression does not always look the way you think it will. We have this kind of movie, TV, drama opinion of what depression should look like. It's not all crying into a gallon of ice cream. Some of the happiest, cheeriest people you will ever meet are some of the most depressed. Sometimes. Not always. Sometimes there are just psycho people who are just happy all the time. They're a little scary, but it's okay. Depression comes out in all types of forms. Sometimes you will have the crying into ice cream. Sometimes you'll have completely irrational irritability or anger. Sometimes you're just blah, you're just there. sometimes, there are people who experience it to a state that they're paralyzed, who just can't do or move or whatever. Some people get ultra forgetful. Some people get really over motivated to do things. I've seen it where, people start doing like every stupid little task they can think of, and they're just trying to block out whatever's in their head. But regardless of how you experience depression or how silly it may seem to an outsider or even to yourself, understand that your feelings are valid. And it doesn't matter what other people say, you are feeling it, and that makes it valid. It doesn't make it rational, it doesn't make it logical, but it's still valid. So, where do we go from here? Well, just a few suggestions that I would like to make. These are things that I have done at times, because inaction sometimes seems a little counterproductive. I tend to liken depression to the pit of despair from the Never-Ending Story, and it very much is that way, at least in my head. When you're in it, it's so easy to get sucked down and just drop down into it. You start listening to sad music and thinking about some fight you had with somebody 30 years ago. Yeah, probably not 30 years ago. But you start going down and you just get pulled under, and you can't let it do that. So, things that I do to try and keep me from getting sucked into the pit of despair. I don't want to be Artax. Was that the horse? I think that was the horse. I would prefer not to be there. So, journaling. Journaling is the first thing I would suggest. I don't actually write anything down. I have a workout journal that I use, obviously, but some people do a gratuity journal, or things, they're things they're thankful for, or grateful for. I do it all in here. I journal in my head like a psychopath, but I'll try to remind myself. And it's the same things that other people would say to me. My wife loves me. I have my stupid cats that I love. I have this job that I love. I'm healthy-ish. I'm physically capable with my body. Things like that. Stupid things that make you happy, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if they're, sensical or not. I have my video game collections that make me happy. I have this stupid candle makes me happy. I like the way it smells. Things like that. It doesn't matter if it makes sense to anyone else, if it makes you happy, if it makes you feel better. As long as it's not, mass murder. If it makes you feel better, that's all that matters. Number 2, getting outside or getting vitamin D. Get your head out of the gutter. Getting outside, getting sunlight is very, very important. It is very beneficial for not just your physical health, but for your mental health. And if you literally cannot get outside, or if you're in a situation where, kind of like we are right now, where we're really not supposed to be leaving our homes, then a vitamin D supplement could be recommended. Obviously talk to your doctor to see if it is counterproductive to any of your medications or anything like that, but that could be very helpful. Number 3, exercise. Moving. It doesn't matter. You don't need to lift weights or do something like that, but moving your body is very, very beneficial for your mental health. It doesn't seem like it should be, but it absolutely is. I have had days where my brain is in such a funk, but if I can kick myself in the butt and get myself to actually work out, even if it's just for that hour and a half that I'm working out, my brain gets clear and it makes me feel so much better. So if you can get up and move and walk, which, if you can walk outside, even better. Knock out 2 of them. It's really, really helpful. It's, you're releasing you're releasing sweat and toxins and all that hippy-dippy nonsense, but it also really, really clears your head or makes you hyper-focused, depending on who you are. Number 4, talk to your friends. Now, I am one of those people that when I get into my little pit of despair, I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody. They don't want to be burdened by me. And more often than not, if I reach out to a friend, they're not going to be like, shut the hell up, go away. And if your friend does say that, but not sarcastically, maybe reevaluate that friendship. But if you have a good, solid base of friends, whether they are in the real world or online or whatever it is, reach out to them, because more than likely they're not going to be like, piss off. They'll be like, hey, what's up? You don't even have to tell them you're in a bad mood. Just like, hey, thinking about you. Something. I don't know. Just do wordy things. And finally, number 5. If you are truly, truly deep, deep in depression, and you can afford it, that's a big thing, do see somebody. There's no shame in doing that. I went to therapy for 3, 4, I don't even know, years. And it was very helpful for me. I went through, for a plethora of reasons, including my depression and anxiety. And I'll be honest, like, most of the time we didn't even talk about those subjects. It was like just what was going on in my day. But just having somebody there to listen was really, really good. And obviously, our healthcare system sucks here, but if you have the insurance or if you have the means, absolutely do it. And if you don't, talk to your friends. Or find somebody to talk to. You'd be surprised at how many people are willing to just listen to you talk. A lot of times it's because then they don't have to deal with their own shit. As a trainer, when I'm working with my clients, sometimes it is almost like a therapy session, because like they just have somebody there that they know is going to listen for X amount of time. Or that they hope there's not actually listening, but I always listen. But it can be very therapeutic, and they're exercising, which is even better. So, absolutely, reach out to somebody, get moving, and I know it can be really hard to do all of those things when you're in that mindset, but if you can at least try and make the effort to do just one of the things on your list, you might feel better. You might not. You might tell me your advice sucks, and that's okay. But these are just things that I have done that have worked for me. Sometimes, the hardest one for me is reaching out to friends and, being like, hey, I need somebody to talk to. And very rarely do I actually do it that way. Usually it's just like, hey, here's a meme. Which, I think meme culture is very beneficial for people who feel like they're alone in depression. Because if you think about it, how many times have you come across a meme that describes depression or anxiety and you're just like, yep, that's me. Possibly a good thing. Anyway, I hope this hasn't been terribly boring, and I hope it was at least somewhat helpful. I would love to continue doing this discussion type thing, just ramble on about a particular subject. So if you liked this video or liked the notion of this video, do me a favor, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave me some suggestions for some things you would like me to ramble on about. And I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, and I will see you next week.